Howdy. So today I wanted to go over an issue I'm having with my Metcal here, and that's my desoldering gun. That's it's a little over a year old, but I've only used it a handful of times. Literally, I could count on both hands how many times I've used it, and each time I've used it, it's very little things I've done. Usually, it's a couple of relays, or I think I did a couple of GM clusters, stepper motors. That's literally been about it. Uh, Very sparingly use it because I don't usually feel like turning the air on, truthfully. So I haven't used it very much. In fact, this is the original paper. Like I have a box full of these papers. This is the original paper that I put in there, and this is the original filter. So hardly any use at all, and it's not working. So I'm gonna plug it in here, and I brought in both of my units here. One of these is for my other workshop for my van, and one of them, I use here on the bench. But I brought in both just so I can test both. I'm going to take this out of here so we can test easier. But I'm going to put my tip in here, and I'm going to show you what it's doing. So let me go ahead and turn this on. And this is an older firmware. This is 160.5. And here, it looks like the power meter's doing something. It's got the tip labeled properly, but there's nothing there. It's ice cold. And you'll notice the temperature is not there like it's supposed to be. All right? So, maybe the tip is bad. And I can try all three of these. It will be the same thing. So just to rule out the tip completely, I'm going to put in this brand new one, which I have not done yet, but I guarantee you it will be the same problem. So this tip, never been used, brand new. There's the seal still in there. Never been plugged in. And we can put this in. Okay, it didn't even cut off and cut back on. Usually it does when you insert tips. Okay, so it's got the ID right. It looks like the power meter is doing something, but again, ice cold. There's just nothing there. Okay, so now I'm gonna use my other unit here. And now this unit I have upgraded to the latest firmware from, I think I just updated it not too long ago. Let me set this one out of the way. Okay, so this one is 160.23. Okay, and again, we had the right ID, but there's just nothing there. Ice cold. Okay, and we can just try a different tip here. It's the same thing. So there's nothing happening. Now I am fairly certain that there is a break in the cable somewhere. I don't know. This feels extremely loose to me. I'm gonna assume it's actually right here because like I can feel a little bit of play in this, but here nothing. Or either it's just in here from where they're being inserted. I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but what I can tell you is that this cable is defective because I haven't used it enough for it to be damaged under wear. And the majority of the time, this is sitting over on the shelf with the cable just, coiled up because I rarely ever use it. Um, but very disappointing. This thing was like 500-600 bucks. As you see, I'm a loyal Metcal customer, but I'm a little bit upset about this one. Now I'm gonna try to contact Metcal to see if they can help me out here on this one. Maybe they will still try to cover this cord under some kind of warranty. I'm not sure, but I'll let you guys know. But if any of you have any suggestions about what it could be or what I could do to fix it in case they don't want to, warranty it, definitely leave me a comment. Let me know. But other than that, I've always been happy with my Metcal stuff. This is the fluid dispenser. Works works pretty good. I usually use it for this is the smaller one, but I can still use it for some solder flux, more of a little bit more liquidy than normal one. But it still works good. And I'll use it for flux sometimes too. This is the older hot air station, but still works great. I was actually thinking about upgrading to the new one, but things like this just make me say, I don't know, maybe I'll wait on that. And this guy, he's been great. This is the automatic solder feeder. This is extremely expensive for what it is. It's a shame it's so expensive. I mean, it's the same price as the unit almost, but it's been great. It's been a great help for what I do. It's kind of like having an extra hand. But and these, I like the CV. I love the display. I love the information being there. I don't really care too much about the CV, feature of the light coming on. I don't really care too much about that, but the display and just keeping an eye on everything, I do enjoy. But if I'm gonna have problems like this, and I've also had problems with tips, like this tip I'm using here in my ultra fine hand piece. This tip will sometimes just stop working, and like you can cut the machine off and cut it back on, it will start working again for a little while, but then while you're soldering, it will just quit and it will just go cold, and it kind of disrupts your work. Usually I don't use it, but I've been trying to test it again because it seems like it started working again. But I've had this happen on several of these tips, and it seems like it's only the ultra fine one, but usually I just replace them and throw them away, which is crazy because these things are expensive. These tips aren't cheap. I had a larger one do it too. I had one larger one do it. It's not this one. I've already thrown it away, but I think it's something to do with the heater element getting a broken connection and the ones that do that. But kind of makes me wish I bought the MX instead of the CV, truthfully, sometimes. But I mean, all in all, I like it. It's my favorite soldering equipment for sure. And I've never had the MX. I guess it's not fair to compare. I feel like the MX maybe it's going to be less trouble. There's a little bit more to fail on this one. Still though, anytime anybody asks me what system they should buy, I suggest this one because it is a great station. Most of the time it works flawlessly. It's expensive though, so when things like this go bad, it's not fun. Especially this one. This one, like I said, I'm pretty bummed about because I haven't used it enough. The tips I don't mind because I'm pretty hard on my tips, and I kind of treat my tips like consumable products anyway because of the work I do. They tend to wear out, and I'm dealing with a lot of conformal coatings going through them. You know, pretty heavy on the flux, so I don't mind too much about the tips, but as the cables start failing, that's just a problem. But anyway, I'll let you guys know how it goes. This video's getting too long.